Senator, we know that we're a divided nation and that there's not a lot of bipartisanship. And I know you were caught on a hot mic basically saying it's going to have to be through reconciliation, most likely. And I think most of us assume that. But when a Republican looks at a Democrat, he'll always say, oh, it's the tax and spend Democrats. And then when a Democrat looks at a Republican, oh, it's the obstruct and do-nothing Republicans that don't want to spend any money or ever raise taxes. But if you throw everything into this bill and then just raise taxes to pay for it and just call it infrastructure and do it through reconciliation, why isn't that just falling right into the tax and spend trap, where it just every long-term Democratic wish list gets put into a $2 trillion bill after we just spent a couple of trillion? Why isn't that what we should take away from what's happening?
I don't think that's the Democrat strategy. I can tell you, as the chair of a subcommittee that has a strong history of working in a bipartisan way to build America's infrastructure, I plan to work with my Republican colleagues. I know Senator Carper is chairman of the full committee, Senator Capito, the ranking Republican. We're going to work together to bring out a bipartisan package. And yes, we're going to talk to Republicans to see whether we can come to an agreement on a way to pay for it. So we'll start with the transportation infrastructure and the water infrastructure and hopefully be able to get a bipartisan agreement. Our strategy is not to throw everything into one bill and do it on a partisan basis. Our strategy is to get a bold infrastructure package enacted in this Congress so America can be more competitive. And I think we have the strong support of the American people to do that.
But when you said it will most likely have to use reconciliation, is that just you're just realistic or cynical, or what was it that now you're saying that you really want to try and make it bipartisan? People have a hard time believing that there's going to be good faith efforts from the president or Democrats to go that route.
In every conversation I've had, privately or publicly, I've stressed the point that we want to work together with Republicans and get an infrastructure bill done. I am also realistic to recognize that we may have to fall back on part of this being done through reconciliation. We recognize that. If we use reconciliation, we still hope we can get Republican support in reconciliation in order to get this done. But reconciliation has its limitations. You can't do a lot of policy through the reconciliation process. So you're required to work together. It's not just the dollars being put into infrastructure, it's how we do it. Smart infrastructure that provides safety and transportation, that adapts to the weather realities, that deal with the new forms of transportation, including electric vehicles. All that needs to be part of an infrastructure package, and a lot of that can only be done through bipartisan support.
Senator, let's say that, I mean, we had a great jobs number on Friday, and there's some people that say the economy is recovering very quickly and maybe doesn't need a whole lot more extra stimulus. Then there's other people that point out that given what we've been through, 2021 may not be the greatest time to raise taxes on anyone. So why not do a $600 billion purely classic infrastructure bill in a bipartisan way instead of just going for broke with everything Democrats have ever wanted to do and put it in and run it up to $2 trillion? Green New Deal type things. Why put it all in there? Because you can.
Well, as you know, we're in the early part of the discussion about how we're going to move forward, the size, et cetera, and how we're going to pay for it. But I think one thing is clear. America has the strongest economy in the world, no question about it. But our infrastructure doesn't measure up to our economic strength. When we go and visit other countries and see how their transportation infrastructure is modernized and ours is not, we recognize we have a lot to do. I can tell you for the state of Maryland, we have bridges that need to be replaced. We have highways that are congested. We need transit system expansions. We are in desperate need of a bold plan to modernize transportation in Maryland and around the country. And I think Americans understand that. So they want us to be bold in bringing America's transportation and other infrastructure up to global competition.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.